Come on. All right. Now we're all set.
Hello, 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 everyone.
Welcome.
Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. This is another episode of the Stories That Grew Us, where we share the dumpster fires, the messy middles, and the magical moments that come at the end if we only listen to what our stories are trying to help us grow through. I am M. Shannon Hernandez. You can call me Shannon. I am a joyful marketing strategist helping coaches, consultants, and service providers around the globe grow an aligned audience who knows, likes, and trusts you. And I've got my co-host with me here today. Her name is Allie. Take it away.
Hello, world. I'm Allie. I am the founder of The Right Place, Right Time. I'm a memoir coach, ghostwriter, and author, here to help you spread your light in the world through your stories and inside the container of beautiful books, which I absolutely love the smell of. Weird fact about me for today.
Awesome. So why would a joyful marketing strategist and a memoir coach, ghostwriter, and author team up for a show called The Stories That Grew Us or Grow Us? Right? Once we get through, they've grown us. The reason why is because we both know the power of great messaging and great storytelling and how far it can move people in your brands, in your life, in your memoir, influence people, and not in that spammy, swarmy kind of influencer way, but really help people tap into their own bravery, their own courage, and connect. Can everyone say we're here on this earth to do some connecting? Right? That is what we're here for. So, Allie, today we're talking about paying attention to the signs. So I'm just gonna ask you right now, what sign has been showing up that you are just paying attention to more than ever, listening to your intuition and really tapping into that place?
So, I would say that my book has been whispering to me lately. So Dear Universe, I Get It Now was the memoir that I wrote back in 2020. Well, I wrote it before that. I published it in 2020. And lately it's been kind of in my periphery going, girl, you ain't done with me yet. I don't care that it's 2023. I don't care that you put this out there a couple years ago. We are not through. We have more shit to say, more shit to do. And I don't really know exactly what that all means yet, but I know to trust it because my book came to me with an internal knowing at a live event that I went to back in April of 2019. It came to me in a dream, what its cover was going to look like and what parts of the title were. There's magic inside of this book of mine. And so now that it's kind of chattering in my ear, that we're not done, that there's more to talk about with bravery, that there's something more there, that I'm thinking about card decks lately and journal compliments and other spin-off products from the book's kind of themes and what it's about. I'm that's kind of the sign that I've been getting, and it feels right, even though I don't know what it all means yet. And I think that's really the work involved in following a sign is not just being able to hear it and kind of receive the knowledge, but then then working your way through the how without feeling like you need to know all of the answers right away. Because I think often when we get those intuitive hits and those intuitive signs, we get a piece of it, but we don't get the full picture. It's a little crumb, a little morsel of something much bigger. And you have to kind of be patient with waiting for it to manifest or gel or whatever word that you want to use. What about you, Shannon? What's the sign that you're getting lately?
Yeah. So I've been getting this sign for months. I've been listening for months, and now I'm taking action because that's really how I'm wired. Unless I'm super clear on what to do with it, not how, but why that message was given to me and what to do with it, I don't act, but when I do act, it's fucking fire. And so what has come up for me as I was thinking about our episode today is back in, I'd say May or June of last year, I'm part of a networking group, if you will, and several of the people in that group, it got back to me. They didn't say it to my face, which is the first sign, right? They didn't say it to my face, but it got back to me. Oh, Shannon's too strong. She's too bold. She's too direct. She tells the truth too much. And guess what I did? I shrank. And I watered it down, and I watered the message down, and I watered my marketing down, and I watered myself down, and I shrank. And the business didn't like it. I can tell you that right now. The messaging wasn't standing out anymore. But those comments, hindsight's 2020, looking back, that shit was all about them and what they wished they could be, and had very little, if anything, to do with how I show up in the world. And so I've come back around just this last week and say, I'm not putting out my fire anymore. I'm not watering down my message. I'm not toning it down. If you don't fucking like me, you don't have to listen. And that is the fire that people actually pay me for in messaging and marketing, because people want to have that level of confidence, and they want to have that bravery, and they want to have that message that doesn't blend in anymore, but stands out and calls people in with their mission. And so it's been a rough, I don't even know how long was May or June. It's been a long time, right? This has taken me quite a while to come out on the other side of it, but I feel really good about the decision. I feel like it's a true and aligned decision. I was in the messy middle for a while. And it was a dumpster fire. The whole thing was a fucking dumpster fire on my confidence, on my revenue, on my relationships, on me questioning myself every day. But now the magical moment is I'm back. And I'm back in my power, and I'm back owning my brilliance and owning my sassy, bold self. And if you don't like it, exit stage right.
And as Carolyn Romano would say, end scene.
And scene.
My favorite thing ever that she ever said the whole week we were together in October. And end scene. We were just talking on Friday too, and she did the same thing in our call. End scene. Wow, it's interesting. Well, number one, I appreciate your vulnerability, Shannon, and sharing that, because I think sometimes I know this is true for me. Like, I look up to you so much, right, as a mentor and as a coach. And it's always nice to know that, like, you're also human, right? Because a lot of the time, in looking at you as a mentor and a coach, right, it's like you've got it all together, and everything is operating the way that it should be, right? And so to like peel back the curtain and know, like, no, like there are people who have hurt you. There are people who have said things that have crushed your own sense of confidence. Like, it's a reminder that no matter how successful we might look through our social media posts or the work that we do or whatever it is, like, we're human, right? Yeah. We have human emotions. We experience human things, which is exactly what this whole live series is about, right? The humanness of what we experience, and that shit is hard sometimes. And we don't know when, like, the next boulder is going to come, like, rolling down the hill to chase us. We're trying to keep ahead of it. And we think that we've grown in one area. And then it's like, like when you were talking, it made me think of how many people, when I was growing up and into my early adulthood, were like, you're too intense, you're too strong-headed, you're too, and then insert whatever adjective, whatever. And we get caught up in that. And that's part of the noise, right? That drowns out being able to hear or see signs that we're being given. And we don't even necessarily see them as signs themselves. Like, I think if I look back, and again, you said hindsight is 2020, I was thinking about how many people kept saying you're to this, to that, and whatever. And I had the knowledge that I do now, I would have seen that as a sign of, you keep doing you, boo. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. This is exactly how you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be. And all this other crap that people are tossing your way is theirs, you know, it's their monkey on their back. Like, but it's hard. It's hard as somebody who cares. It's hard as somebody who is self-reflective, who's
It's
very
hard
conscious
for
and
somebody
aware.
who wants to fit in to the group that you've joined, because they're actually saying, no, you don't fit in here. Right? Like you got to change yourself to fit in. And I'll take responsibility. Like, I'm not a victim. I'll take responsibility that, I mean, I'll take responsibility for a lot of things, but I will also say people's words fucking matter. And if you're going to talk about people behind their back, one, no, it's coming back to them. One way or another is going to get back. All right. So that's your integrity now you have to deal with. Right. And two, what's the lesson here for me? I'm not for everyone, and it's okay. And Shannon, don't change who you are to fit in. It never works.
Yeah. Right. So what can we impart on like the people who are catching the video, who are watching the replay, like, okay, like signs. So how do your signs show up, and how do you kind of like lean in, or, you know, that kind of thing? Like, so Shannon, like oftentimes, is there a certain way that your signs usually come to you, or does it depend on the situation?
My signs almost always come to me in the form of what you said at the beginning. It's a glimpse of a thought or a seed or an intuitive hit that just fucking hits, and it's gone. And then it's like, oh, I need to pay attention to that. Today I went for a walk. I have a big event this week I'm super excited about. And I was walking, and there's 7, how do I want to say this? On the path along the water, there's 7 lanes, if you will. It's like a track, but it's not a track, it's pavers. But it reminded me of the time that I ran track and got my team disqualified. I was actually walking today in lane 4, and I was like, oh my God, when I was 16, I started out in lane 4, and then somebody didn't give me the right message and coaching. I'm going to tell the story this week. And I ended up disqualifying my team because the messaging wasn't clear. And so I said, oh my God, I'm doing a messaging workshop this week. This is a perfect story to weave in somewhere in its full expression and help people understand. That was an intuitive hit. That is how they drop in for me. And they always drop in when I'm in movement, either running, working out, or walking.
I love it. Yeah, I think movement is really important. It's getting into your body, right? Which I really struggle with as somebody who's like usually living kind of like up here. And actually I was just, Carolyn again, I was talking to her about this on Friday, that like from an intuitive strengths perspective, somebody once told me that I was claircognizant, meaning that I just know things, like they just like drop in and boom, it's like this awareness. But I've had other people tell me that I really need to get into my body more. And so it's like, how do you get into your body when your main intuitive like strength is like to just know things, which is like, feels like it's all up here. But I get a lot of knowing in the quietness of a walk outside, nature, trees, but also in morning kind of like reflection and meditation, if I can get quiet enough. But I also will see things. I remember a couple years ago, I think it was a couple years ago now, I started to see 44s everywhere. Just double 4s and sometimes triple 4s. And they still pop up for me even now. And I actually went and saw an intuitive about that at one point. And she was like, yeah, 4s are like, trust yourself. You're on the right path. Don't veer from the path. If you see 4s, like you just keep going, like, you know, trust, you know, whatever it is that you're doing and where you're heading. And that was like really reassuring to me, because I think we can get really lost on our own journey, wanting to divert, right? Either because of noise or distraction, or we start to doubt, or our energy shifts, you know, because of one of those things. And when I see the 4s, I get kind of like, it's like that little like click, like, oh, nope. Okay, let's proceed on the path, like, and not step off the path. So I think it's really interesting. there's like angel numbers, there's, animals that can appear with certain messages if you're willing to receive.
And I wanted to say something about animals because, I've worked with Carolyn for a while, and she's so talented in helping us see how the animals just show up. And I'm going to sneeze. Live show. Today, I haven't looked it up yet. I'm going to do it after this show and I'll post in the comments. But at the moment that I was walking and this track story dropped in, like just a glimpse, a seed, 8 black crows flew and landed on the pathway right in front of me. And I stopped, I counted them. I made sure they were crows. They looked at me, I looked at them, they flew off, and I said, I've got to look at what is that sign in that moment. And so Carolyn's really been helping me know that it's the animals, the number of the animals that show up, and the exact thing you're thinking about at the moment. That is where you kind of blend that intuitive power and get those deeper meanings for the signs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I think crows are really like powerful animals, especially. Yeah. I remember once seeing it, like I looked out my sliding glass door. I was in a condo at that point, and there was a giant, like the size of a dog, crow sitting in the tree, like ahead of me. Like I felt like I could have reached out and touched it. I've never seen one that close in that tree, like, and that prevalent. And, at the time, I think I looked in my, whatever my animal guidebook was, and, it was like a storm is coming. There are lots of big things that are about to occur. And I think within a week, somebody really close to me passed. Stuff at preschool for my son started to go downhill. Business shifted drastically. It was a really tumultuous time, but I also felt like I already knew that was like, there was stuff that was brewing, because I just kind of knew, like, okay, this crow is here to deliver something. And, it's so interesting to be having this conversation, Shannon, right? Because like however many weeks ago we started off with like, what's woo woo wackadoo. And, here we are leaning into our numbers and our animals, and like, where's the line? The line is wherever you're going to make the line, wherever you feel like is too woo for you and not woo enough, like that's on you. But I think like the biggest thing that we would probably want you to take away from today's episode, right, is like looking at your life and determining, what signs have you been given? How have they showed up? Are there any patterns or trends, right, for how those signs come to you? Because once you notice a pattern and trend, I think you're going to be more open to receiving, because when they might be around, and you'll probably notice that the better you get at it, the more that you hear and see them. And I also feel like, in Shannon, your example, your story, right? Like some of our messiest moments, our dumpster fires, are actually our greatest gifts and our greatest signs. They're painful. They suck. I like to say that they're little like packages of shit wrapped with a bow. They look really horrible. You don't feel like you want them. They smell rank. They look horrible. Like they're not pretty. But then somewhere along the way, you're going to realize like that thing was exactly what you needed when you needed it. Yeah. Even if it took you a while to like get to the good stuff in the center that was like really going to offer you the next layer of your being, or the next, level of your potential, or whatever.
To get to the center of the shitty Tootsie Pop.
Exactly. Right. That little chewy nugget in the middle.
Which we hope is not.
Which we hope is not. Yeah. Exactly. But we want people to listen to themselves. We want people to be, really understanding who they are, seeing how they know, right? That deep inside what you need to do and what you're set out for. Because there's really nobody out there that can tell you, right, what is right in your next step, next iteration, next season, in life or business, really. Yeah. Like, because if you keep chasing what everybody else is telling you, you'll just be like, basically a dog going after its own tail, constantly thinking you're going to get to the next thing, waiting for somebody else to figure it out for you. Ain't nobody going to figure out shit for you. Like, no. You have to do the work.
And there are people that can like collapse your time frame. Meaning, for example, if I wanted to get better at knowing what the animals mean and the numbers mean when they show up. Working with a coach like Carolyn has helped me do that. I've collapsed the time, but I knew that was something I wanted to do. That made sense for me, right? Yeah. So I think, Allie, a lot of times people listen to these things, meaning stories like this, or they listen to people like us who are powerful, intuitive people, and we say, well, we have to know what's right for us. And they combine that with, and so I can do it on my own. And I think that's a clear distinction that I want to make today is, of course you can do it on your own. Like,
but don't.
Yes, you can. It will probably take you longer. You will probably make way more mistakes. You will probably waste a lot of time, energy, and money, but you can do it on your own. Like, there's always this choice of you can keep doing what you're doing. Great. You can keep doing it on your own once you've got this awareness. Okay, gonna probably be slow. Maybe not as fast as you want, or you can have your deep inner knowing and partner with somebody who gets it and speed that trajectory up. Yeah. Everyone has choice in that matter, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you made that distinction. In fact, I feel like, okay, people, if you want to not know like when to use a coach and if your coach is right for you, you need to go check out the last episode. Or maybe it was 2 episodes ago now, but we talked about like, when do you use a coach or break up with your current coach to up level to another coach? But I think the main point, right, is yes, you have everything that you need to know inside you, but that doesn't mean that you will know right away what you need to do to listen to yourself, right? You might need support and I think it's also true of like business. I don't know that I would want to do business without a coach or a mentor. However, I also need to be able to be aligned enough with myself and my values and my business decisions to say, I respect what you're telling me, but I choose differently, right? Yeah. Like I respect that you're offering me this lesson or this education. That doesn't feel right for me and my business. How else could I go about
that? That is the empowered partnership. I was hoping you would say that. So yes, Shannon, I hear what you're saying about being bold and sassy, right? How we started this. I hear that. And I know that I could be more bold and sassy, but can you help me find my own style so it feels good to me? Yeah. That is the fucking power right there.
Yeah. 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 I think, and how good would it feel to be able to say that to someone, to stand in your own truth and say, man, I love how it looks on you, but I don't know that it looks like that on me. But I want my own flavor. I want my own taste of X. Like I want to cultivate that. Can you help me cultivate it for myself? But again, it's like all like, you got to do the work. You got to do the personal work of like, well, who are you and what are you about? And you know,
being willing to ask that. I mean, if we look at the story I shared at the top of this, there would have been a difference for the ladies that were talking behind my back to actually come to me and say, God, you are bold. You are sassy. I love your style. I think I need more of that. Can you help me with that? Or what tips do you have for that? Or how have you gotten there? Can you share your journey? Very different than you're too much. You need to tone it down. You make me feel blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like that's a full circle moment right there to what we've been talking about.
But at the same time, it would have taken them awareness to understand, wait a minute, I'm judging. I'm judging. Why am I judging? Oh, I'm judging because I'm envious. Oh, I'm envious. Interesting. So why am I envious? Oh, I see. Right. Like, but if we don't have that skill and we don't have that ability, like it just ends up this like gossip train. Like we all remember being in high school, right? Which obviously still occurs even as adults. I was doing this myself playing field hockey last night. One of the other players on the other team was somebody that I remembered playing against in high school. And I couldn't stand her. I could not stand her in high school. She was really good, but she also had a terrible attitude on the field. And that's all I could think of in that game last night. And I was literally there on the field, self-talking. I had my stick in my hand. I'm like watching the game, like, cause I'm on the defense, watching the ball get ping pong back and forth, coming closer and closer to me. She's coming closer and closer to me. She was on me all game. And in my head going, now, Allie, you're 37 years old. This was 20 years ago or whatever, however many years ago it was. You've grown. She's probably grown. Aren't you grateful? Yes, you're grateful. You're grateful that she decided to stick around and play this game because our team, the team we were supposed to play against, didn't show up. So she pulled together a group of other people who were willing to play us. Aren't you grateful? Aren't you grateful that you got to play tonight, that she, you know, helped to lead a team of people so that you could be here, that it wasn't a waste to come all the way out here. Like, you know, hey, look, she's still really good, but, you know, you didn't hear her get attitude-y once, you know, like, but I had to remind myself, like, that was then, this is not now. Who are you right now? So don't assume anything about them. But that's like how many years of me reading self-help books, going to therapy, looking inward, doing my own work. I mean, it's a journey and it's a process, and we're not going to get there overnight, but we have to lean in. If we want the powers of intuition, we want to be able to see signs, hear signs coming from our own inner knowing, we got to spend time with ourselves and allocate and prioritize time, energy, and resources to doing that deeper inner work, which is only going to enrich our lives and our businesses, you know, going forward.
Yeah, I love it. Lisa Olson is here with us. She says she loves your example, Allie. Do you know Lisa?
I do know Lisa Olson. Oh my gosh, heart Lisa. She's got a beautiful podcast called Stranger Connections, where you only meet each other once as a stranger. It's amazing and quirky and wonderful. And recently, I just need to say this, she posted hilarious photos, and I don't remember if it was on her Facebook page or Instagram page, of Target's recent like women's line of clothing. And she said it was like the prison, it was like the prison line, but there's definitely a dress that she was wearing that was like more Handmaid's Tale. Hilarious. Lisa's great people. She's great people.
Well, she's really happy to be here. And I have a story about Lisa I'm going to share in a moment. And Marianne Smith is also here. She tuned in at the moment of a shit wrapped up with a bow. And she said, what is this conversation about?
I love it.
Lisa, while you're here, I think it's really fun. I'll just share this right quick. So Allie, Lisa invited me to be on her podcast. And I went and took a listen and I loved it. And I came back to her messenger yesterday and I said, I'd love to be on your podcast. Thank you for the invitation. And she said, okay, I record weekends and weeknights. Which do you want? And I said, neither. No, thank you. I don't work either of those times. And I felt good about it.
Yes.
I felt good about saying that because it's a boundary that is super important to me. And my joy and my peace of mind and my downtime and my confidence and all the things. And she didn't push back on it at all. Like, yeah, that was it. Like, it was just this nice, even exchange. She understands where I am. I understand where she is. And we can go on with life now. That's
beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love her. I love her podcast. You're going to be great. It's so much fun. I lost my video. I have no idea why. It just stopped working. So, okay. I know we're like totally over time, but like, I just want to give one more quick anecdote of signs, because this literally just happened, I think last week when Shannon and I were on a call together. Shannon, do you remember the sign from the universe in the form of an emoji?
It was like a big thumbs up or something.
Yeah. So Shannon, I'm so pissed that this freaking camera stopped working. So Shannon, you were sharing with me, right? Like about a program that you were deciding to sunset. And I think that I had said something to the effect of like, well, when you let go, right, of the things that you know don't serve you, like it's a message to the universe of what you want to receive, right? And we have no idea, everybody, but all of a sudden up on Shannon's screen came one of the thumbs up emojis, one of the reactions, like raised hand, but instead it was a thumbs up. And it just appeared.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. It could have been a tech glitch. I choose to think not. I think it was the universe like listening in on our conversation and being like, yes, that go forth and live by that one message.
Yes. Thank you, universe. I'm listening. Oh my gosh. Right. So everyone, let's wrap this show. It's been a little long, but we've had a lot of fun. We hope more of you join us. If you're here catching the replay, it's #replay. Let us know what signs are coming up for you. What intuitive hits are you getting? What do you need to let go of? And where are you following the signs for your journey? I would like to invite you. I have a special workshop this week. We kick off this afternoon. There will be replays. So if you're catching this later, you can register. All right. It's called the Content Personality Lab. And we are diving into your mission-driven messaging this week to help you, one, understand, is this message clear enough and concise enough and compelling enough to pull in my aligned audience? And two, how do I use my content personality to show up in my full expression of myself and deliver my message with my style? And so we hope you'll join us. It's joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/CP-Lab1. I'll put it in the comments. Allie, what you got going on?
What do I have going on? Well, today I just want to talk again about the 5-step path to finishing a memoir that will light up your world and ours. And I want to just say here that the last piece is incredibly important, the light up your world and ours, because that is truly, like, in a nutshell, my whole vision. It's the idea that when we share our stories, we activate our own healing. When we activate our healing, we actually activate somebody else's. And that's the light. That's the light in our world and somebody else's, right? What we do for ourselves through our writing and what we do for somebody else. So the 5-step writing path is the kind of bird's eye view of all the stops along the way, from getting started to finishing. And for those of you who are like, yeah, I want to write a book about my life and I want it to be the thing that helps at least one other person, then you're my people, I'm your people. And you should be grabbing this guide and striking up a conversation. Let's do this. You've only lived once. Let's write your story.
Yes, your story changes your life and the lives of others. It's collective.
Absolutely.
Allie, there's a sign saying your video went off because your voice is so powerful that to hear you is enough today. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being an awesome co-host. And we will see you all next time. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with a new topic. We'll see you then. Adios.
Bye.